All right, are you guys laying your deck boards and you come across a board that is extremely warped and has huge gaps in it, and you want to make sure that your gap is right? Well, I'm going to show you guys a quick trick on how to do this. All you're going to need is a piece of scrap wood, probably that, you know, you cut off, and a few screws and a drill. So again, you're going to start this process normally, just starting your board, right? Make sure that they're up close. Now again, I'm trying to get mine touching basically, so there's not a lot of gaps in between some of these boards. The wood's gonna shrink over time and contract and all this stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. These were all super tight together literally yesterday, and it's been pretty warm out, and you guys can already see that there's a gap starting in some of these boards. And again, they're all tight knit. I've been doing this basically the entire time, so usually what will happen is they'll shrink about an eighth or so, right? Some boards are going to be worse than others. Again, it's just literally that board that I laid down is super warped, and this one I'm going to get to try to be as close as possible, but this one's pretty warped too. But anyways, so what you want to do is you just want to start your process just like you normally do. Whenever you're on the end like this, what you want to do is you want to have a 1/4 inch drill bit so that you don't split your actual wood. And I promise you, do this because it's going to save you time and money. I promise you. You don't want one of these to split and then ruin a board. Wood's not cheap, so make sure that you're doing these little pilot holes to make sure that you can get your screws in. And make sure you're pushing up all that good stuff so that, you know, as close as it can be. There we go. And now we're just gonna work our way down. So, again, this one, it's still to the point, like this board is brutal. It's a 12-foot board too as well. So I'm gonna show you guys this little tip. So I usually go down a couple joists, all this good stuff. Maybe you don't get the chance to stand up like me, like I'm doing, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab this board. So what you're gonna do, give yourself a little gap. You're gonna have your screws. You're just gonna screw this slab piece of wood into your joist. You don't have to go down very far. As soon as it starts catching, you're good. Then what you're gonna do, again, you're gonna have your screws ready on deck. So if I'm gonna be trying to get these two boards in, I'm just going to like half drill them to where I want, so they're not in, but they're queued up and ready to go. So they're queued up, ready to go, just like that. So now what you want to do is you want to grab your pry bar, and again, be careful with this. I find going under, see how I'm like kind of pulling back, it kind of ruins, well, it doesn't ruin, but it puts a little gap in the bottom of the board. It's better than putting it in the top of the board. So what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of pry to where you want your board to be. So that's touching up there, which is good. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to drill this down. You can see that they're pretty close. They're not super touching, but again, I'm going to pry it a little bit more for this one to make sure that it's going to be kind of a little bit closer, just like that. And you're going to do the exact same thing. Again, some of these boards, some of the screws you may have to drill further down, just like kind of like what I did there. Again, water may pool in there and all that stuff. That's another issue. But you want to try to make this as close as possible, and that's pretty good. And there you go. So that's basically it. So that's all you really need to do, and then you just basically continue this down. After you get that middle part in, though, I'll go back and do that one. This board's probably going to be fine. I'll be able to push it up myself, but then that basically makes your warp board able to lay down. And again, you know, carpenters in the thing are gonna say all that nonsense, like, hey, no, you shouldn't have them butted up together and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm not a carpenter. This is my deck. I understand there's a million things you could have did. I could have put that black tape here so that it lasts on my deck too as well. Again, it's my first deck I ever built. Zero experience. I'm just trying things and learning things. So again, learn from my mistakes, but I found that this is actually something that's very helpful. And it's very easy to do. Again, if you're a DIYer and you guys do this stuff at home by yourself and you don't have help, this is the best way to do it. And you want to do it the cheap way. Like, you're not going out and buying an $80 tool that I'm sure does it better than this. screw all those guys. Do shit yourself, get it done to what you want, and that's it, guys. So hopefully this was helpful. If you guys had any other questions, any other concerns, or light me up in the comments for all my carpentry needs, go ahead. There you go.
Oh my God. Let me show